Tosca Automation. Question 1. What is Tosca, and how does it differ from other automation tools like Selenium? Answer. Tosca is a model-based test automation (MBTA) tool developed by Tricentis. Unlike Selenium, which requires scripting, Tosca provides a scriptless, drag-and-drop approach to test automation. Key differences. 1. Selenium, code-based, requires scripting knowledge, primarily for web applications. 2. Tosca, scriptless, supports web, mobile, desktop, API, SAP, and mainframe applications. 3. Selenium, needs external tools for test data management. 4. Tosca, has built-in Test Data Service, TDS, for data-driven testing. Question 2. What are the main components of Tosca? Answer. The main components of Tosca include 1. Tosca Commander, the main interface for test case design, execution, and reporting. 2. Tosca Executor, executes automated test cases. 3. Tosca Wizard, helps in scanning applications and creating modules. 4. Tosca Repository, centralized database to store test cases and artifacts. 5. Tosca Test Data Service, TDS, manages test data for automation. 6. Tosca Distributed Execution, DEX, supports parallel execution across multiple machines. Question 3. What are Tosca modules, and how do you create them? Answer. Modules in Tosca act as object repositories that store technical information about UI elements. They are created by 1. Scanning the application using Tosca Wizard. 2. Tosca identifies UI controls like buttons, text fields, drop-downs, etc. 3. Modules can then be used in test cases without coding. Question 4. What is the difference between business dynamic and business reusable test cases? Answer. Business dynamic test case, used for specific test cases, unique to a scenario. Business reusable test case, used across multiple test cases, follows modularity to reduce redundancy. Question 5. How does Tosca handle dynamic elements? Answer. Tosca uses identify by properties and dynamic expressions to handle dynamic elements. 1. Identify by properties, adjust technical properties, example regex or wildcard asterisk. 2. Dynamic expressions, use buffer or spath-based identification for dynamic values. 3. Anchor, locate an element relative to another static element. Question 6. How do you execute test cases in Tosca? Answer. Test cases in Tosca can be executed in multiple ways. 1. Select the test case and click on Execute in Tosca Commander. 2. Use execution lists to run multiple test cases in batch. 3. Use Tosca Distributed Execution, DEX, for parallel execution. Question 7. How does Tosca generate execution logs and reports? Answer. 1. Execution logs can be viewed in the execution section in Tosca Commander. 2. Reports are generated in HTML, PDF, and Excel formats. 3. Tosca integrates with tools like Jira, TestRail, and Jenkins for reporting. Question 8. What is TBOX, and why is it important in Tosca? Answer. TBOX is Tosca's next-gen automation engine, replacing classic engine. It supports 1. Cross-technology automation, web, API, desktop, SAP, mobile. 2. Reusable modules and templates for test design. 3. Better performance and stability in execution. Question 9. What are action modes in Tosca, and when do you use them? Answer. Action modes define how Tosca interacts with UI elements. 1. Input, enters values in fields. 2. Verify, validates expected versus actual results. 3. Select, selects a value from a drop-down. 4. Buffer, stores a value for later use. 5. Wait on, waits for an element to appear before proceeding. Question 10. How does Tosca manage test data? Answer. Tosca manages test data using 1. Test Data Service, TDS, centralized data storage for automation. 2. Excel integration, fetches data from Excel files. 3. Test sheet and test configuration parameters, manage dynamic test data. Question 11. How do you perform data-driven testing in Tosca? Answer. 1. Use templates, convert test cases into templates. 2. Link with test sheets, fetch dynamic test data. 3. Run multiple iterations, execute the same test case with different data sets. Question 12. How does Tosca support API testing? Answer. Tosca provides API scan to automate API tests. Features include 1. Support for REST and SOAP APIs. 2. Automated request and response validation. 3. OAuth, JWT, and basic auth authentication handling. Question 13. How do you validate API responses in Tosca? Answer. 1. Send API request using Tosca API scan. 2. Use verify action mode to validate JSON/XML responses. 3. Apply XPath or JSON path expressions to extract values. Question 14. How do you integrate Tosca with Jenkins for CI/CD? Answer. 1. Install the Tosca CI plugin in Jenkins. 2. Configure Jenkins to trigger Tosca execution via execution lists. 3. Use command line interface, CLI, to run tests. 4. Publish reports in Jenkins. Q15. How do you configure Tosca for parallel execution? Answer. 1. Use Tosca distributed execution, DEX. 2. Configure multiple agents for parallel test execution. 3. Optimize test case execution strategy for performance. Q16. How do you debug failing test cases in Tosca? Answer. 1. Check execution logs for errors. 2. Use Tosca Scratchbook for step-by-step debugging. 3. Verify dynamic element handling strategies. 4. Check test data inconsistencies. Q17. How do you automate a desktop application using Tosca? Answer. 1. Use Tosca Xscan to capture UI elements. 2. Use T-Box automation tools to interact with controls. 3. Leverage OCR and image-based recognition if needed. Q18. How do you optimize Tosca scripts for better performance? Answer. 1. Avoid unnecessary verifications. 2. Use buffered values instead of dynamic property scanning. 3. Implement modular and reusable test cases. 4. Optimize synchronization settings to reduce execution time.